brought to you by Parts Canada and Drag Specialties. We support the sport. Metzler ME880 Marathon, what Biker TV rides on. The Dealey Motorcycle Exhibition, Vancouver, BC. Welcome to Biker TV, by bikers, for bikers. This week on Biker TV, we're trackside with Don Fergan in Edmonton, Alberta for the CMDRA Finals. We're with Dave McCabe from Creative Chaos, checking out Canada's first bamboo tattoo studio. But first, artistry and iron.
Here with Biker TV, and just brought out a few of the old artistry and iron collection of some of the more vintage bikes that we have. And there they are, and this is the old show. This is the original 1980 trailer that we used to go across Canada and pleased a lot of people, but we're sort of bringing everything out in the open and starting to expose things again, and Biker TV was one of the first to be invited to film some of the bikes that we have. So enjoy yourself. Well, like I say, dealers didn't really advertise hardly. Like I say, their main contract was the police department, eh? So they didn't advertise like dealers would today. The advertising media wasn't geared towards motorcycles in them days. It was all word of mouth, or somebody knew somebody that had one, and most people that had them needed to find a friend to go riding with. Don't matter if it was hill climbs or just tours or just rallies where they all got together. It was fun. Finally, Harley had to move ahead in the times. They used the same basic design frame from 1936 to 1957. Not many changes in it. The engines were all irreplaceable, with a little modification here and there. But 58, when they came out with the swing arm frame and the rear shocks, and the whole design just seemed so much bigger. And for only $75 more as an introductory level, but I don't know if they didn't sell well or people were scared of the rear end moving around, but they only sold 195 FLHs. They sold a lot more FLs to the police departments and all that. But that was a lot of money even in them days, right? It wasn't too much more money you needed. You could have bought a new Corvette or a new Chevy convertible, so it was debatable, and money still wasn't flowing the way it should have. In 58, if you had a job, you were lucky to be making $50, $60 a week. They had 6, 7 different colors, but this one here we did up in very traditional Hawaiian bronze and Indian ivory. I thought it was one of the nicer combinations. So we used that design and went with that flow. Only 195 of them built. We hunted up all the genuine stuff for it that we could. It's pretty genuine. It's got the guide lights and the right front bumper, the genuine Harley fender tip, the dual glide. This was also the first year of dual glide with the rear shocks. Before that, all bikes were rigid frames. And funny, because $1,275 would have bought you 1957. And in 1958, they only went up about $60 because Harley wanted to introduce the new dual glide. Dual glide meant rear suspension instead of a rigid frame, so you had the new rear shocks. You also had a big improvement from rigid frame mechanical brakes into hydraulic brakes, even though the 58s had a small brake drum, and years later they got into a nice wide brake drum that finally stopped these things a little better. This even has the genuine bullet bags on the back of it there, which were still around. I bought a few sets a few years ago and got a deal on them, and that's the last set I got now. They were glamorous. They were like a 58 Chevy. That's what I always compare this bike to. It's like 58 Chevys were painted in the same colors. I think they shared something with Dunlop DuPont paints. And they used close to the same colors, Calypso red and the Indian ivory and Skyway blue, and there's sort of a mixture on the Corvettes and the Chevys and the Harleys. Sort of brought them into the modern age instead of the darker colors they were using previously.
Stick around. After the break, we're trackside with Don Fergan at the CMDRA Finals. Closed captioning by Hog Tunes. Audio solutions for the Great American Cruiser.
Welcome everyone to the Canadian Motorcycle Drag Racing Association Parts Canada Drag Specialties season final racing in Edmonton, Alberta. And with us today we have Joe Weber, who is the official announcer for the CMDRA. How long have you been doing this, Joe?
I've been doing it for the bike drags for about 27 years. I've been doing it, going to the races for 52 years.
That means you're just a spring chicken then, I guess, eh?
Yes, I am.
So can you tell us a little bit about what's going to be going on today with the racing?
Well, the race today is going to be probably the very best race we've had all year. For one thing, the weather is going to be perfect, and Mother Nature owes us one for what she did to us in January and June of this track. And the great thing about the points race this year in at least 4 categories, it's going to go right down to the final round to see who's going to be the champion. There are no giveaways today. You are either on your game in round 1 or you will not be crowned a 2012 champion.
Well, this is the #1 bike in Canada this year. It is a Derringer motor. This is a purpose-built motor that was designed in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. It's called a Derringer engine. It's a side-by-side plain rod motor, plain bearing rod motor, and specific built for this class. We pioneered it. Jerry Gordon designed it. A lot of people on the internet helped with that. It was an open forum for about a year. And Jerry and Johnny Vickers got together with it, Johnny Vickers being Hawaii Racing in the US. And between the two of them, they put it together as find the parts, find the pieces to make it go. It's a 1-piece crankshaft. So the days of the 5-piece crank or the 3-piece crank that constantly plagued these things is gone. It made the crankshafts for the bottom ends bulletproof. And by making them bulletproof, you can go to the track and tune, not fix.
Very good. Now, what kind of record runs would this bike run?
The record with a Derringer motor in a Pro Dragster at this point in time is 7.08 seconds, and the mile an hour is about 185. We just try and set the world on fire with it, fueled by nitromethane. I did forget that.
And I believe that Al's got the championship pretty well locked up this year.
If an airplane engine falls off and crushes me tonight, that won't happen. But other than that, it's mine, yep. And that's been since 2003. When we embarked on this deal was after 2 years of just stoning the competition for 2 years in 02 and 03. And we decided that was all the old school stuff, so we were going to get rid of that and start it going in a new direction, and it's taken us that many years to get back to where we were.
So ingenuity is the mother of invention.
It is. And finally, it's nice to see it come to fruition. Here in at the finals here, half the field is these motors.
Excellent job, well done, Al.
Thank you.
This bike is It's built in the U.S. It's an American chassis, we call it. It's about 900 horsepower, 94-inch wheelbase. Will do 0 to 230 mile an hour in about 6.5 seconds.
Wow, that's really flying there. Now, can you tell us about the size of the engine on this bike?
This bike, the rules allow a 200 cubic inch engine, and we got as close to that as we could. We have a 198.5 cubic inch motor. We run a 2-speed transmission, so there's no clutch lever. It's all in centrifugal arms, and then we release arms to the clutch as we go down the track. That's why you'll hear the motors quite often raise in RPM, and then they'll pull down. That's the clutch being engaged. We've been revealing arms to the clutch.
So how many stages would that clutch have?
We have a base stage, which consists of 6 base arms, and then we have 6 other arms, which are stage arms, and we drop them in when we want.
So you can basically tune the bike to the racetrack.
Absolutely. That's what you use the arms for. If there's a bump or a soft spot in the track, soft being a loose part where we'll spin the tire, we'll put an arm in a little later. If we're on a real good track like Edmonton is this weekend, we'll pull the tune up closer to the start line and drop the arms in faster.
Excellent. Are you looking forward to some good runs this weekend?
Absolutely. We did a little testing today. We didn't have a great day, but the last run we put our old tune-up back in and it tore that track up. So we're making a ton of horsepower, and tomorrow's going to be an awesome day. We say we have a tractor engine surrounded by Formula One racing, and it really is. There's 5 microprocessors on the bike, but we're racing a motor that was designed in 1903. It's a real challenge, but it's fun.
Stick around. After the break, we're getting inked in Toronto at Canada's first bamboo tattoo studio.
This is Todd Santos from Bamboo Tattoo. I'm Dave McCabe from Creative Chaos in Brantford. And we're here doing an interview with Todd, getting to know a little bit more about the bamboo tattooing and the procedures.
To be honest, I was in Thailand, and I went to Thailand to go get this sleeve done. And I was lying there on the beach getting tattooed, and
were you?
Yeah,
you rock. That's cool.
And it was the coolest experience, and I was like, I want other people to experience this, and like no one knew. Yeah. The only person that, like Angelina Jolie, flies to Thailand to get this method done. That's all her tattoos on her back are done, the bamboo technique, and I knew people would love it. And then I found Pepsi, and his artistry is beyond belief. Like people don't believe it. Like, people don't believe that it was done with stick and needles.
Yeah.
It's new to North America, right? Like, we're not, this is North America machine tattooing, right?
Sure.
You know, Sailor Jerry started, continued, and now we're Canada's first and only, and we're introducing a new technique.
And like you say, you don't have to travel around the world.
Exactly. I brought Thailand to you. And not only I brought Thailand to you, I brought Thailand's best artist to you. I mean, I've traveled all of Thailand. There's not too many people left in the world that could do this technique. And if there is, I would love to meet them.
Yeah,
Because in 3 years, I haven't found any more.
What's the quality of a tattoo as opposed, is the accuracy?
Yeah, I suppose the final outcome is what's important, right?
Sure.
You know, never mind if it's 3 hours or 5 hours. What's that tattoo look like? Right? Like, what's the final product?
Right.
Like, does it have that wow factor?
Right.
I think that's what's most important.
I'm just getting used to the quietness in here.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I know. It's different. Well, that's because Maddie's not tattooing. She's rejoined it. Even the way he just does shading and stuff, right? Like, all the shading is all done by twisting the hand. Well, my needles come individual. He solders them all together and stuff for
So unfortunately, you can't get on the bandwagon of getting your pre-made needles. They're all custom made, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if you would want to. I mean, I think that's kind of the cool factor, where like you come into a tattoo shop and you're waiting to get your tattoo done, and he's sitting there hand carving a bamboo shoe, then he's sitting there hand making the needles, and then he puts them together. And
just like every tattoo, it doesn't matter whether it's machine or by hand.
Yeah.
You use the proper needle, different configurations. I used to make my own needles too, and
so you know what it's all about. It's an easy game.
And you can get a little bit more of what you want when you're custom making.
Sure.
So he'll just take a piece of that.
Yeah, machete down the middle, peel it, start shaving it. Half an hour later, you have a little stick.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And a lot of people don't realize that that's where it all started coming from.
Well, it's the very first way of tattooing, 3,000 years ago, before electricity, before the machine.
Yeah.
They did tattoos like it's done with stick and needles.
Yeah.
In the jails.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly. And we frown on that nowadays.
Yeah.
Homemade tattoos, but really, we're going back. We're bringing it back.
But tattooing's also changed now. Now it's kind of more socially accepted. It's got in a way. Now it's back to like kind of body art. You're not like a gangster. You're not a jail guy.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You're like, people respect it.
And the art is a lot more acceptable too.
Yeah.
As far as
art
what
looked a lot different years ago.
What we had 20, 30 years ago, what you've seen is what you got.
Sure.
Nowadays, you can bring something in that's hanging over your couch,
right,
over your mantle.
Exactly.
Something, anything, a statue, and it can be replicated.
From the inks to, the machine to the artistry, like
Everything it's evolved, and it's obviously gotten better.
Great thing.
And our biggest thing is safety and educating the public.
Sure.
Just because it is. I've been tattooing for 23 years. When I got into the industry, it was in the snowball effect.
Yeah.
Where the health department. They weren't able to keep up with it. They didn't know anything about it. So we over the years we've worked to educate them.
Yeah.
They're educating us. So we work together.
That's
it's
right.
basically the only way that we've become acceptable.
Why they choose you? Because listen, our shop's clean. This is the way it's supposed to be done.
Stick around. When we come back, more drag racing action at the CMDRA Finals.
The Pro Modified classes are unbelievable this year. If you cannot run a 670, 680, you are going to have a hard time getting out of round one, and it is going to take about a 660 to win. Len Darnell, his bike's just been on fire this year. He starts off with a 660 and just sits back for the rest of the day and say, okay, boys, 660 is what you want to run? Come and get me.
So he set the high mark, the benchmark, and we also have Tony Clisby with the Nuclear Banana. He's very capable. He ran some 660s in Medicine Hat in testing and has backed that up now with some really good times also.
Yes, he has. Tony Clisby, no wonder they call him the Nuclear Banana. That bike has really run well. The one that I'm really looking at is Gary Christopher from Hope. He generally runs this field. He's had nothing but problems this weekend. He's put new parts into the bike. He's done everything he can except get off and push it down the track. And he is having troubles getting it into the 660s. If he doesn't do it, Tony Clisby or Len Darnell, they're going all the way today.
We could see some records fall again this week.
Absolutely. If we're going to have any records fall, this is the track to do it.
Here we are in the pits with Len Darnell, and he's running a super bike and a pro modified bike. The pro modified bike happens to be the baddest bike on the property today. You made a pass yesterday, a 660. You're going to go for a record again this year?
We're going to see what it does the first pass and turn it up, hopefully, as the day goes on. Hopefully we make it that far. So, yeah, we're going to try.
Good. Excellent. Now, Len comes to us from the U.S. He's one of our American competitors in the CMDRA races. Loves coming up. And you got the super bike here, and that's running on pretty good, too, isn't it?
It's doing okay. It's had its issues this year, but it's doing what it needs to do. So we're staying in the points and looking forward to it.
Consistency is the key in Superbike, cutting the light.
Yes, definitely.
So we're going to have a little fun here and lay down some good runs.
Yeah, definitely. That's what it's all about, having fun.
Tony drives the, as we call it, the nuclear banana, and you're looking to set some good runs this weekend, Tony?
I'd sure like to, Don. Some 660, 650s maybe.
You ran a 660, a couple of them in Medicine Hat earlier on this year in testing, and have you come close to that the rest of the year?
Yeah, we ran a 680,
661 in Mission.
In Mission, and I think we ran a 680 here yesterday.
Right. And then this turbocharged bike on alcohol, and you've got some pretty good mile an hours out of it too, haven't you?
Oh, it usually goes over 200 miles an hour.
Here we have a super street bike. It's basically all brand mildly modified street legal motorcycles. Again, look at the absence of a slick and the absence of a wheelie bar. These bikes are self-controlled, and we got Rob Ashton here who runs in the super street program. Rob, can you tell us what you're doing a little bit?
Yeah, right now I'm just trying to get my clutch running a little bit better. We have to run a stock clutch setup. We can't use any lockup clutches or slider clutches, so we have to make the best of our launches, and the best way to do it is make sure your clutch is as new as possible. I actually set a new record today. Now tomorrow I just have to back it up. I ran a 874 at 163, and then I also set a mile an hour record at 166.13. But I need to back those up tomorrow now too, so I got my work cut out for me.
Excellent job. Good luck to you. This bike is something nasty, I tell you. It sounds really, really good going down the track. Now, one of the things here, these are modern motorcycles that are right up the snout, metric, and they are no slick, no wheelie bar, extended swing arm, and correct me if I'm wrong, about 500 horsepower?
Yeah, we'll make 550 at the wheel. Getting it to the ground is the big part. Everybody can make lots of horsepower, but getting the clutch and the chassis to do everything they need to do, and the track, and obviously the small tire. When it all works good, it looks great. When it doesn't work good, we go up and smoke or wheelie. So, but yeah, it's getting it to the ground is the trick.
Okay, and what kind of mile an hour?
My top speed actually is at this event a couple years ago, ran a 195. Lately we've been in the 188 to 189 range.
So there you have it, folks. I tell you, that's a 750 at 195 miles an hour from a 500 horsepower motorcycle from our 13-time champion, Ethan.
Next week on Biker TV, we're back with Artistry and Iron. We're hanging with the boys at Hip Cycle in Brantford, Ontario. We're back at the CMDRA Finals in Edmonton, Alberta, and we're heading to Fenwick, Ontario for Biketoberfest.
We should have met years ago when we were younger. Live life from a storybook to fill virtue's hunger. Running wild